Hello, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. It's episode 533 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. Are you okay over there, Brett?
I'm good. False start.
You feeling good? Just checking on you, you know? We have Sara on the show today.
Hey.
How are you?
Doing? I'm doing great. Excited to be here as always.
Love the all denim vibe.
Thank you.
Looks good.
Just feeling it.
It's, let's see. How am I doing? I'm doing all right. The weather kind of got back up into the 40s today, which is good.
Yep.
Which is, the cold doesn't bother me, but out here, people don't really know how to drive in the snow, and also like the plows
That's
are kind of
me.
Yes.
I don't know how to drive in the snow.
She is people.
Yeah.
so
At least you tried. I didn't even try.
just stay on the mountain.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah, guys, we got a bunch of stuff to get into today, but before we get started, would you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed here yet already. We are past 96,000 subscribers. We're about halfway to 97,000, which means we're getting ever closer to 100,000, which is fantastic. So thank you guys so much for that. Please share these videos with your friends. The best way that you can help the show is by sharing this video out, and hopefully more people will come over, check out the channel, and want to hang around, which would be fantastic. Also, remember, all super chats $20 and over. We will interrupt the discussion. We will read them right then and there, and then we will do our best to get right back on topic. Sometimes you have burning inquiries that you need answered, so we are always happy to do so. What are we going to be talking about today? We got a bunch of stuff to get into. So first things first, Barbie got nominated for several Oscars, but apparently that wasn't enough because they're very mad that Margot Robbie did not get nominated for Best Actress, and Greta Gerwig did not get nominated for Best Director, so that must be sexism. And then Ryan Gosling did the cuckiest thing I've ever seen and issued a statement about
disgusting.
it. So it is. So we're going to talk about that. Also, speaking of Barbie, legendary director Oliver Stone was like, you know what? I don't really like it. I don't get it. And then he was forced to apologize because the rabid feminist mob will come for you.
But hey, it's not just the women's movies that he was hating on. He also hated on John Wick and Fast and the Furious.
So we'll talk about that. It's kind of in the same vein as Martin Scorsese. The older directors, they don't get the modern cinema. Also, Armie Hammer, if you remember Armie Hammer, we covered him earlier last year and a little bit the year before even, because he had his cannibal scandal. He's not actually a cannibal, long story
Cannibal
short.
Scandal sounds like a good band name, don't you think?
Cannibal Corpse is a band. Cannibal Scandal is good. I like it.
It has potential.
Yes, it does. But now one of his, it's not even an ex, it's like a lady he had like a fling with.
They're calling it an ex-fling.
There you go. It's like, so he had a fling with a lady, and she's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go on a podcast and tell everyone about it.
Is every woman who has slept with Armie Hammer or any celebrity just going to come out of the woodwork and tell us all of the graphic details of their sex life?
He just looks for women that say, like, I really like to give interviews about my private life, and those are the women he sleeps with, apparently.
Trashy.
So, yeah, it is. And then we're also going to talk about something happened not that long ago. We covered the nude art exhibit that was happening over at MoMA, right? And now they're being sued because one of the nude performers is saying there was unwanted fondling happening that they wanted nothing to do with, and nobody did anything to help him. Shocking.
Oh, but if it were wanted fondling, then that would have been art, right? Yeah. So we're going to get into a conversation about modern art and why it sucks.
Well, I also wonder if this is a male model, I wonder how seriously these claims would be, how much more seriously these claims would be taken if it was a female model. If they're like, look, they were like squeezing and honking my boobies, and then I was like pissed. So I imagine it would be taken a lot more seriously.
Oh, for sure.
So we got that. We got a bunch of other stuff. So guys, go ahead and please subscribe to this channel first. Mary, if you're ready, we will just get started. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Sara, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go ahead and get started then, shall we? First things first, right around this time of year, it's not just the Oscars that are coming up. We've also got the Razzies. If you don't know what the Razzies are, it's the worst in film. Didn't we have a story a couple of years ago where they nominated something and then they removed the nomination because the director or something, like somebody died or something?
Oh.
Do you remember that?
Gosh, I'm not sure.
It was like last year.
By the way, is the Razzies like something that has an in real life ceremony?
It used to have an actual ceremony.
But they stopped
I remember
it?
because several performers like wasn't Jada. Who was it? It wasn't Jada. It was Halle Berry picked up. I actually got it right. Halle Berry.
Nice.
She went and picked up her Razzie in person, which everybody kind of applauded her for
great.
like
Being a
owning
good
it
sport.
and being a good sport about it. But the 2024 Razzie nominations have been released, and the Marvels and the Flash are nowhere on there, and that's sad because I'm assuming there's a special effects category, or there should be, and both of those movies could be up in the running for a special effects Razzie.
Can you get snubbed from the Razzies?
I mean, that would.
Or
be
do you want to get snubbed by the Razzies?
You want to get snubbed by the Razzies?
I don't know. I feel like in their position, I would be honored by it, by a nomination.
Well, I feel like this is a lot like when celebrities read mean tweets. Like the idea of the rich famous person like eating a little bit of crow is good for the culture.
Yeah.
Like people like it when the celebrity has a little bit of humility.
Yeah, that attitude doesn't exist anymore. That's
No,
a thing
it
of the 2000s and maybe the early 2010s.
I
but now,
blame-
like, it seems like the masses are on the side of the celebrities and they want to celebrate them.
Yep. I blame it on like the Tonight Show. Who was the one who did mean tweets? Was that the Tonight Show?
Jimmy Kimmel?
Was it Jimmy Kimmel?
Yeah.
But like when he would do it, so the best celebrities would read it and then just make a really, really sad face and,
Yeah.
and look bummed. But then they started incorporating the celebrities who would like clap back at the person, which to me just looks like, hi, I'm the rich famous person with a platform. You're the pleb and I'm given the platform to then clap back at you.
Like the
But-
mean tweets bit was, you know, a good idea in theory, and then in practice, it just got a lot of people really deranged.
But then, like, people would cheer when the celebrity would like push back on this person. Like, why are you cheering when the rich person pushes back on the nobody?
Yeah.
That doesn't
On the person
actually.
with,
On the
like,
Joe
2
Schmo
followers.
32.
Yeah, it's
also
literally
the
Joe
mean
Schmo
tweets
32.
that they picked out were never really that mean. Like
I
they
thought
picked
some-
the more tame ones.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they picked the ones that were just generic humor rather
Yeah.
than actually super, super mean. But it's a PG show at night, so, you know. But yeah, no Razzies for either of them, and definitely, at the very least, The Flash should have gotten one for the bad visual effects in the movie. I also saw a story the other day that says... Christopher Reeve's family had no idea that they were going to do that with Christopher Reeves, because Christopher Reeves makes an appearance in that
Oh,
movie via
what?
special effects, and the family said they haven't seen it, and they had no
And they
idea
have
it was
not
gonna
seen
be-
a paycheck, obviously.
Yeah. So like they haven't seen
Weird.
it, and
That
they
is super
don't. They
weird.
didn't even know it was going to be.
What,
in there.
he made an appearance as Superman?
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
even hear about that.
And that clip of Nick Cage talking about
Also
his
fake,
his
yeah.
appearance being faked, like he's fighting a giant spider when in reality he never acted that out on a green screen.
Uh-huh.
That was just circulating again and getting a lot of attention.
Yeah. Mary, we should have you read mean tweets.
Like mean tweets about the show.
Yes.
I don't know. It would be pretty hard to find them, but we could do that. We already read our negative reviews from Apple.
That is true.
Right?
That is true. It's just going to be a bunch of generic, like, these people are racist and sexist and bad.
I don't know. I think there could be some good like
Some
zingers,
zingers.
in there.
No, like the reviews, like on the actual YouTube channel, yes, definitely. But that Stanzatastic says, I got first the other day on IRL. Do I get first here? Also, roll that awful video. Also, I ordered so much coffee, I don't know what to do with it. The Sleepy Joe full-on is the Sleepy Joe full-on decaf?
Yes.
Yep. We can't roll the awful video because Sarah's already seen it.
I have.
Yeah, did you see it in full though?
He didn't pay. Like,
Technically-
I made a promise to the people.
technically,
I made a
no.
promise to the people that I would only play it for new people when it's requested.
All right.
Right? I don't want to.
Okay.
I don't want to put people out. And you know, somebody said they stopped watching the show live because
Because of the People's Joker?
People's Joker. They're like,
We went a little too far.
well, that shouldn't happen regularly now because.
Well, we
like,
need a different thing then
Yeah,
to torture people
that's a good
with.
idea.
But it's difficult to come across cringe of that caliber.
magnitude. Yeah, like I've yet to find anything else that
There's like
has
a lot of effort put into it, and it's like well edited.
Yeah.
I haven't found anything else that brings about the visceral reaction.
Like
that
maybe
trailer does.
maybe we're the biggest fans of the People's Joker actually
It's
because
actually
we've watched it the
probably
most.
true. Yep. So, all right, guys. So just go ahead. The Razzies seem like a really, really important thing to keep going because these celebrities should be held a little bit, you should bop them on the nose every once in a while.
Yes.
Yeah, but the
Keep 'em
Marvels
humble.
definitely deserved it.
Yep. All right. I couldn't find an article for this, like accompanying
Yeah, why
the
isn't this
story.
getting more attention?
So, TikToker sentenced to 3 years in prison
Wow.
for blocking tramway traffic just to record a TikTok. Well, I don't know if you deserve 3 years in prison, but you're definitely a scumbag.
Yeah, he deserved
Yeah.
worse than 3 years.
Definitely a
He deserved
scumbag.
life in prison.
Yeah.
Look at this douchebag.
What is he doing? He's smoking a cigarette or something?
And then man spreading like.
Where is this? Do we know where this
I don't
happened?
think it wasn't America, if I remember correctly.
It doesn't seem like it, but I mean, he did in a sense like endanger the lives of the passengers.
Right.
So
we need to crack down on influencers.
Yes.
yeah, we need to shut TikTok down until we can figure out what the hell is going on, et cetera, et cetera. Who was this guy helping him? Did he get any punishment?
I figured that would be the guy who's recording the video. Like,
But there's a third guy who's recording the video, so what about them?
A whole gang of
There's
videos.
precedent for this because this is one of those things. One of the biggest dance TikTok trends is where they go to like the middle of an intersection during a red light and just do dance videos, and then you see these poor people in the cars. Like, what the fuck is going on right now?
Yeah.
I would just hit the gas. Like I can't put up with that.
Like, okay, what's worse? Getting caught like with like a climate change protest or just some vapid influencer filming a TikTok?
The protesters are definitely worse,
Yeah.
I think, because they have moral superiority about what they're doing.
We got a $20 one from That's Danzatastic. Says, fine. Then you should watch the whole speech from Newsroom. Is Mary a cringe connoisseur by chance? Anytime we see the ones she's chosen, they are truly in need of a warning with the cringe level ahead of its time.
Yeah, I didn't
Ahead
pick
of
the
time.
cringe of the day for today. Brett did, so I guess it'll be.
I just thought Madonna and Amy Schumer were cringe. Anything that involves them is cringe.
There's a little teaser. What is the speech from Newsroom?
We'd have to get a link for that. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know what that's referring to.
I don't know what is worse. I don't know if it's the moral superiority of an activist or like the brain dead take of like an influencer.
Yeah, I don't know what's worse because at least like the activists are looking towards a collective gain versus the TikToker is just looking for individualistic gain and fame.
Yeah.
They're both pretty
It's
bad.
like, wow, this is something that should be posed to like the actual, like, so we should get, wasn't there just like a big debate between like Ben Shapiro and Destiny? This is the type of question that should have
What
been
was the
asked.
subject matter? Was it just body count? Because I saw a clip that said like, does
Bro,
body
that thing-
count matter?
That thing was like 3 hours long. I'm not watching 3 hours.
Also,
of Ben
I
Shapiro and
sent you a
Destiny.
link to the Newsroom speech that I believe they're referring to. I don't know.
We're gonna get copyrighted.
Yeah, it's probably a copywritten
We're gonna get copyrighted.
video. So
what is it?
I guess it's a show from.
It's like it was like an early 2000s show or mid 2000s show.
2000s?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't watch it, but like
It's like America is not the greatest country anymore is the title.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Get out of here with your.
We know what we're
with
getting
your
into
America
with
hating
that.
stuff. I don't want to hear it. So yeah, 3 years in prison for this guy.
You know what? Maybe America isn't the greatest country anymore because they're doing a crackdown on my crack, which is Zyns.
She was very upset about this, ladies and gentlemen. It's,
Chuck Schumer wants a federal crackdown on Zyn nicotine products. He calls them a pouch packed with problems. Say it, don't spray
it's
it.
a good alliteration
sir.
there. Here, let's listen to this clip.
Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is calling for federal action to crack down on a product called Zen. He says the nicotine pouches. pose
Tucker
a
Carlson
danger
is
to
lobbying
teens
against this
as
right
they
now.
use them
Oh, yeah.
as an alternative to
He's going to lead the
e-cigarettes.
uprising.
Did you see that video of Tucker Carlson like saying that his like one of his daughter's boyfriends turned him on to Zyns? And he's like I have one in my pocket
Also,
right now.
he did a collab with the Nelk Boys where they like airdropped or what did they do? They airlifted a gigantic replica of a can of Zyns onto the ground, and he was like, "This is enough to
Tucker
stop
Carlson
World War."
has become like the face of Zyns now.
Yeah,
ever
it's
since
kind
he
of
went
his
on Theo
brand.
Von. Yeah.
Packed with problems, high levels of nicotine. So
Doesn't sound like a
today,
problem
I'm
to me,
delivering
sir.
a warning to parents because these nicotine pouches seem to lock their sights on young kids, teenagers, and even lower, and then use the social media to hook them.
The social media. They use the social media to hook them.
Imagine like a country that lost every drug war they've ever gotten into, still trying.
The teenagers, you mean the people who are not legally allowed to buy it,
Like,
right?
Yes. Well, I mean, didn't they just crack down on vapes a couple years ago? Or
All it
Like
did
the
was make
flavors.
everyone like mass stock up on Juul pods.
Yeah.
because they thought something was going to happen. And
It
then
did
didn't.
not reduce the amount of vaping at all.
It just made people panic and buy more. So
it's like what every time somebody proposes some type of gun ban, any type of gun legislation in AR, and like all the AR-15s sell out in just about every state.
look, there are a lot of things that I would love to put a federal ban on, but nicotine is not one of them.
Leave the Zyns
concur.
alone, she says.
Yeah.
We got one here from Organized Business Solutions. Says
Services.
What did I say? Solutions? Same thing. Grads to, or you want to read this one, Mary?
Grads to Michelle and Steve F. The son, Anthony, just got into the PhD program in chem at Ohio U. See, Ginny, when you marry someone outside New Jersey, you get a good girl instead of a New Jersey girl. The B word. Love you, kid. Love, love, Uncle Craig. What is this?
I'm assuming she watches this show. If so, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Uncle Craig is giving you
Congratulations
good
on the PhD program.
All right, congrats. Hope you put it to good use.
Yeah. All right. Cool. But yeah, I don't think that this crackdown will ever work because the drug war has never been won.
No, and he looks tremendously lame
let
for
them
trying.
eat Zyns. Like, we gotta have something.
Let them eat Zyns.
I remember when I was in video production class, I had this teacher who was like, you know, nowadays everybody has anxiety and they have stress and trauma. Back in my day, everybody just used to smoke cigarettes, and there was none of that.
It was an easier time.
You had a point.
Yeah.
There's a point there. Yeah.
All right, guys. So if you're going to the Four Seasons in LA, be on the lookout because Britney Spears has apparently been banned for going topless by the pool.
Is she banned for life, or is this a temporary thing?
I would imagine she can get brought back. So
When you're a star, they let you do it.
Britney Spears has allegedly been banned from the Four Seasons in LA after guests complained about her bizarre behavior and stripping off by the pool. 3 sources exclusively. I love that 3 people were like, "I'm going to go out of my way to confirm this story."
Yeah.
Told the Sun that the staff at the Westlake Village Resort have been driven crazy by the pop star's antics for the past year. I like the idea that she has a home nearby, but she just goes there to torment the workers by doing weird shit.
I guess now that her Instagram is on private mode, she needs more attention, so she has to strip in public instead of just in her living room.
Yeah.
Got a $20 one here from the Undertaker. It says, the Zyn ban will happen. We used to have wonderful flavors of Camel cigarettes, peppermint, chocolate, mint. They said it was targeting children and the rights and desires of people were discarded as usual, he said.
Oh, so only children like chocolate and mint flavors?
Sounds ageist to me.
Yeah, it's
Sounds very
ageist.
ageist to me. We got another one here from the Left-Handed Links. From Left-Handed Link says, watched an old PCP, I mean PCC clip about Mary's writing to a prisoner. Update? Do Catholic prison ministry work? I
do Catholic prison ministry work myself. I was not doing Catholic prison ministry. I was sending letters to Martin Shkreli back when he was in prison. He's free now, so I'm happy to announce that to you.
You still talking?
Did he respond?
No. I mean, he did respond at the time, but no, we haven't been in contact for
that's
a long while.
I had to Google him, but
Do they still make the candy cigarettes? I thought they banned the candy cigarettes.
I think so.
Yeah. That was
remember.
back in the 80s, right?
Yeah, I mean, they were probably already banned when I was a kid.
But that's not a
Chocolate
cigarette. It's
cigars.
candy.
It's like candy heroin or
It's literal
candy
chocolate.
crack. It's just like instead
Injectable,
Or like
high fructose
cigarette
corn syrup.
flavored chocolate.
Have you seen the trends that people do now where it's just like it's just they make whole meals out of sugary candy and it's the most disgusting. Even me who loves sugar watches it and it's just like I'm literally like dying as I'm watching it where they make like I'll find some for maybe I'll show some tomorrow, but it's disgusting. Like,
Is it like those people who live stream themselves and they have e-commerce businesses on TikTok? Because TikTok has like TikTok Shop where you can buy things directly on the app, and people live stream themselves like putting together these weird kits of like Doritos and gummy worms and stuff like made to order for their viewers. It's really weird. And like pickles. I don't know. I don't know what's going on TikTok.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I did see a thing going viral the other day about this guy who like he went viral because like he brings women home for one night stands and he sends them home with care packages that are pre-made. Like they're in big Ziploc bags and it's got like a juice box, a sandwich, $20 for like an Uber.
Oh wow! I was gonna ask, does he give him an Uber too?
Yeah,
or is it just the snacks?
He sends them home with like
for their
food
walk
and
home.
money for the ride home. It's like that meme where it says like just it's like a woman and says like just had sex, bought like ate food, had sex with him and sent him home in a cab. They're like, let's see how he likes it. And all the guys are like, yes, this is horrible.
We
Sex
also,
and
Don't
free
do
food.
it again.
We got a $20 super chat from Not That John Stewart saying we used to be a country.
We did.
Yes, a proper country.
I do have plans this summer over the 4th of July to go to a Pizza Hut Classic because I'm going home.
Amazing.
There are several in
Nice.
Minnesota. And like in Minnesota and Michigan have several of them. So I do intend to go home. I might see my family. I'm definitely going to see a Pizza Hut Classic.
Yeah, like seeing the family, that's up in the
If
air.
I
We're
can
not sure.
If I can find the time.
But Pizza Hut Classic comes first.
That is my plan, is to go and get food from the. I don't even eat salad, but I'm.
Do they sell the cups, the red cups?
I don't know if they sell them, but they have them there.
You should steal
I found a
one.
website.
Oh,
that
they
has
probably have like heavy surveillance to make sure you don't steal their shit.
I have like I found a website that just the whole website is just all the locations of the Pizza Hut Classics.
How many are there? I thought there were only like 2.
No, there's a couple in each state. Not every state, because I looked for one in Maryland to see
Damn
if I could
it.
go
There's none around here?
There's none around here.
Not even in Virginia.
There was
around
one
here.
in upstate New York, and there's one in North Carolina, or it might have been South Carolina. But there's
All right.
some. But point being that's my plan
Road
for the
trip.
summer is to road trip to Pizza Hut Classic. It's gonna be
Where your
like-
family
You
happens
need to
live
vlog
also.
the experience.
Yes. Oh yeah. We used to be.
Pizza Hut Classic review coming soon.
So it says Britney was a longtime guest at the 5-star family-friendly hotel. Well, it's not family-friendly when she's around. Yeah. So it says
So
which
she
is
just,
which is just minutes from her $14 million mansion. So she just
Where
goes
she
there
has a pool
home.
to
as well.
torment the people that work there. She's like, "Would you like to see my titties?" And they're like, "I would love to, but unfortunately, there's children here. You can't do that."
I don't even think that they want to see her titties.
Yeah,
I think
I
that
really don't.
I think she should just keep her bikini top on.
Probably a good idea.
I don't know. She's so mentally deranged. It's very sad.
She needs to stay home.
This it says one report also claimed that she ranted, "Do you know who I am? I effing built this place. I've spent so much money here. I could have bought the goddamn hotel."
Well,
her
you
words,
should
not
have.
mine.
Her net worth is $60 million, so I don't think she has enough money to buy the Four Seasons.
She allegedly went to great lengths to regain access, at one point refusing to move her car from the hotel's drive-in
my
lane
gosh.
unless she was granted access to the hotel. Can you
Free
imagine?
Britney! This is the new crusade for the Free Britney
awful.
movement. Unban her from the Four Seasons.
her
Let
back.
her strip in public.
How is she mentally stable enough to drive even?
I know.
She gets tickets all the time.
Really?
She gets tickets like the.
Imagine pulling someone over, you have no idea who it is, and it's just Britney Spears
Yeah.
tweaking
Like
in the
topless.
driver's
Well, I mean,
seat.
any of those
Oh my
police officers
gosh.
that work for like Hollywood PD are used to dealing with.
Or she has
yeah.
a chauffeur, right?
I mean, the clip is always of her getting around.
now
I've
that
seen-
she's free,
Do we
quote,
have,
unquote,
like,
she drives herself.
The body cam footage from the police officers pulling her over.
What was the story about her at the drive-through at like the McDonald's drive-through?
She
yeah.
she was at like a Carl's Jr. drive-through and started like yelling at one of the employees and crying.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we got a $20 one here from Left-Handed Link. Says loved watching the ecosexual clip. The progression of disgust on your face is leading up to the moment when Brett loses all hope for humanity's future was hilarious. Like so,
It kind of happens on a weekly, if not daily basis at this point.
So I was also pointed out that here. Somebody pointed out to me that there was actual term for that back in the day. It's dendrophilia, which is like so they've just replaced the philia part with sexual, and instead of
So now it's a valid sexual
yes,
orientation
exactly.
instead of a mental disorder.
correct.
Got it.
Yep, dendrophiliacs. That clip was pretty. I mean, I think I found the shifting one more depressing.
Yeah, but I don't know. We need to bring back the insane asylums.
I found the
Maybe
shifting
Britney
one-
should be in
Yeah, and Brittany needs to take her meds and stop driving.
All right, I've got some more good news. Sophia Coppola says Apple TV pulled funding for the Custom of the Country. That's the name of the series due to a unlikely. Ladies and gentlemen,
one. It does seem that way. She
even
said,
Apple with their "fuck you" money is like, we're not doing
right.
this.
She said they pulled our funding. It's a real drag. I thought they had endless resources. But yeah, Apple does have endless resources.
And they're giving none of it to you.
They're just not giving any
I don't
of them
buy
to
any
you.
of this. She is the daughter of a famous Hollywood director. She understands that resources are not unlimited.
She said they didn't get the character of Undine, who is the protagonist.
Who was supposed to be played by Florence Pugh, which means it's doubly unlikable.
Yes, she was talking to Apple executives who she described as mostly dudes. They said, she's so unlikable, but so is Tony Soprano. It was like a relationship that you probably should have gotten out of a while ago. So I guess she was in an abusive, toxic relationship with Apple.
Yep. Yep. And
The idea of an unlikable woman wasn't their thing, she said. But that's what I'm saying about who's in charge.
Bro, the filmmaker said that the limited series would have consisted of 5 episodes with a budget the size of 5 Marie Antoinettes, citing her own film budget of $40 million.
Wow.
So 5 $40 million episodes?
There's also a documentary coming out soon about the making of Marie Antoinette.
Oh, okay.
I would be interested in that. I thought it was a good movie.
I'm just,
Like, she's not a bad filmmaker. She just is clearly a raging feminist.
mostly dudes.
She said the people in charge of giving money are usually straight men still. There's always people in lower levels who are like myself, but then the bosses have a certain sensibility. This is the daughter of Frank Coppola. I mean, like, you are a Nepo baby. You don't really have any room to talk about who has the money in the business.
Yep.
Not saying she doesn't have talent, but come
She's
on.
probably used to having money thrown at her.
Right.
So she's not used to having to ask for it.
And
She had
Told
opportunities
no.
thrown at her, really.
And this doesn't matter anyways, because anyone who's spent any amount of time in Hollywood will tell you that the hardest thing to do is to lock down financing for a project. It just is. It's very, like, this. When people talk about Hollywood being out of ideas, that's not true. There are thousands of people who have got good ideas. It's just you're not going to get the money from these companies because they'd rather throw it at garbage that doesn't seem to be anything anybody wants. This was just so much garbage that they wouldn't even get on board for this one. Also, you can just tell that this is one of those things, even the name itself, I can already picture myself transported in front of a TV, scrolling past it and not clicking on it.
It's about some Midwestern woman who's trying to break into Manhattan elite's
The
social circle.
Yes, during the Gilded Age. Well, guess what? The Gilded Age is already a show and it already exists. We don't need to. Okay? Nobody would watch this. And no women. And I would bet you that the people who, I wonder who the hell has Apple TV anyways, but I bet you it's mostly men.
She previously told the New York Times, if it's so hard for me to get financing as an established person, I worry about younger women starting out. It's surprising that it's still a struggle. I mean, if you find that surprising, you're just not paying attention to the direction of the entertainment industry and the fact that streaming has totally turned it upside down. But she's a creative. Like, I'm not expecting her to know how these things work.
It also sheds light on the unfortunate reality that no matter how much you push back against the idea, people don't want unlikable female protagonists. They don't. They never will. Men can be unlikable in lead roles. Women can't. Tough luck. Sucks to be you. Can't help you.
Even if she's a villain, that's fine, but she has to be a likable villain. Like Elizabeth Holmes.
There you go. I'm sorry, but this is just the fact of the matter. This isn't me saying it. This is decades of research and people watching movies and telling you what works and what doesn't. And unlikable female characters just rub people the wrong way, both men and women. The only people it doesn't rub the wrong way are rabid feminists.
But it is bizarre that it's Apple TV, which provided funding for Gutsy, the docu-series about Hillary Clinton and Chelsea Clinton and
They
Megan Thee Stallion.
probably self-funded half of that.
Yeah, the Clinton
Good point.
Foundation has plenty of funding to
Well,
go
that,
around.
I mean, between the Clintons and Obama and the Obamas, they've both got like thriving Hollywood production companies that are pumping up propaganda at record rates these days. So it's hilarious. Like, all you have to do is write a character that has at least a couple of redeeming qualities. They have to be at least somewhat likable because people just don't get on board otherwise. I don't know what else to tell you. All right, I want to talk a little bit about a couple of separate articles that all kind of tie in together. And the general theme around all of this stuff is that TV is dying and Hollywood is kind of dying right along with it. I bring it up because one of the most difficult things for me when covering this stuff every day is, like, I have a hard time quantifying when people ask me like questions about the industry, and it becomes kind of disheartening because no matter how much stuff fails, it doesn't feel like anything ever actually changes. Well, the only place you can really see change most of the time is within the numbers. Now, most of the time I still find that to be dubious at best anyways, because most studies and things like that, they can be manipulated in some way, shape, or form depending on who's running the survey. I just saw a thing the other day, for instance, that says, like, some doctor was like, no, Jillian Michaels' take on Ozempic is good for you. I'm like, gee, I wonder if Ozempic paid this doctor to say that. But as an aside, so this says almost 500 fewer TV shows aired last year.
Lousy TV
yes,
shows.
But he editorializes there. But the point is he's talking about the full breadth of the Hollywood industry, and it was in the mid 2000s. It was in the low 2000s, and it dropped down to like just over 1,700 shows got made, a 21% cutback. I do think he kind of undersells the importance of the strike on how few shows came out, but that doesn't really matter anyways, because the result of the strike is that they're gonna make fewer shows again. They're going to continue to do that. So there was strikes and there was cost-cutting measures put in place by these studios because they're hemorrhaging money in a lot of respects, and the outcome will be that even less stuff is going to get made. He also points out that there used to be 100 million people subscribed to cable TV. Now it's just over 50 million. Even that number seems high to me, but I guess when you really think of a country of 300, and I think it's like 350 million people, and only 50 million of them have cable TV, that's an insane drop.
Yeah,
right?
well, it's only going to continue dropping.
And the problem with this is that as these shows all get canceled and as there's less stuff being put out, the ad rates are also plummeting for these companies as well, because companies just aren't spending the same amount of money they were on ads before because they're not drawing the eyeballs. It said like Warner Brothers had a 13% drop in ad revenue, Paramount like a 14% drop, NBC Universal was like 8%, Disney and Fox both lost ad revenue, and Fox is almost exclusively sports, and sports used to be something that was considered recession proof. People love to watch sports no matter how good or how bad everything is doing. And all of this is on top of the fact that all of the streaming services have stalled except for the likes of Netflix, which did add like 13 million subscribers in the last quarter. And it feels like in 2022, like the end of 2022, we talked a lot about how Netflix was the one that was failing. Now it seems like Netflix is the one that's just kind of stalled or making incremental progress. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like adding 13 million subscribers and doing a lot of that on the paid tier, which gets them double the money, because not only do they get the lower amount for the actual initial fee you pay, they make the money on the advertising that people buy up to be seen on those ad tiers. So I just wonder how it is that as the ad rates drop, as more shows get cut, and as more of these projects don't seem to pull any return on investment, how things go forward. Because they pointed out Disney spent like 5 to 10 years pandering to China, and not one of their movies last year made it into the top 20 in the Chinese box office.
Well, what do you
None
mean
of
when
them.
you say pandering to China?
Okay, so the best example is Moonfall, where there's the random nanny that speaks Mandarin because half the funding came from a company called Tencent, right? So they would change the posters and make Finn smaller for the Chinese box office, pandering to China.
Okay.
So they did this for a decade, saw no return on investment. China has no interest in American movies. They make all of their own stuff right now. So how do these companies go forward when they can't seem to find any way to break out of the slump that they're in? Like, I don't know if there's even any way forward. Paramount just a new round of layoffs at Paramount. The difference is I think most of the time when we see these stories, it's like we see one story about a new round of layoffs like every other day. But that's like 3 times a week we're seeing stories about massive layoffs at these companies, and we still end up feeling like nothing changes.
Yeah, but it's going to be like a multi-generational change that we can't watch in the moment. I thought that, you know, if people want to watch live broadcasts, they're going to start watching them on Peacock or on Netflix, which just started its first live broadcast. So
yeah,
you don't even need cable to watch that anymore.
And I bet a lot of people get cable just because it's bundled with like their internet or something like that. They're not actually using it or watching it.
Yeah.
And old people who are used to having cable are dying, so the drops are going to continue for that reason. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see a lot of this like equal out to a change in the product or in the quality, but I just don't know if I buy that. Like, can you think of anything that's come out recently that makes you hopeful for any changes?
Like movies or TV shows?
Like, is there anything that makes it seem like we'll have to wait and see if the strike and the pushback against these companies equals like noticeable change, but I don't buy that. Like, I don't think it ends up changing the product for most of these companies.
I don't know. Did you see any examples from last year of things we reviewed that gives you hope?
Not really. I mean, there was the thing. I'm also like a less of a harsh critic. Like, I didn't actually hate most of the movies that came out last year, but that doesn't mean that the public sentiment agrees with me.
Well, we're living in a derivative culture. Everything that's coming out now, in movies at least, in theaters, is sequels, spin-offs, reboots.
Well, all the creativity goes to television shows or goes to
all the new
goes to
stuff is in
streaming.
TV shows, but usually the TV shows get canceled after 1 to 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Or they
They
get
don't
pulled
do
from
massively
the
well.
platform, and you can't actually watch the show again.
I actually
Yeah.
believe that that's why I think they're hurting for revenue right now, because I noticed, at least in the last week, again, this is anecdotal evidence, but Netflix, Hulu, Peacock have all started adding back like classic action movies and television shows because they need to start putting things on their platforms. Because when Mary would talk about how Netflix should just have all this, they should just all be one company. That's why people liked Netflix back in the day, right? Because you went on Netflix and there was 8 gazillion options.
The one-stop
everything.
shop streaming service.
Like now I'm going on these streaming services and it's like I'm going right past all the new garbage and I'm going to watch Con Air. Or I'm going to watch The Transporter. I'm going to watch old action movies that I know I'm going to like, as opposed to the new stuff.
This is why I'm saying that piracy is like kind of the way that we can win the culture war.
I also think that more often than not, what's going to happen is the ad tiers are going to become more and more common. I think that I think I've found that I'm more the exception here, that a lot of people just don't have a problem dealing with ads. I still think it's insane.
I won't do it.
I think it's insane to pay $7 to be shown ads.
Well, there's YouTube movies and TV shows that they're putting on YouTube for ads.
They edit those though too. Like I've seen some pretty gnarly like edits to the material.
Really?
Of the movie?
Yeah, of the movies. To like PG, like to PG the R-rated movies and stuff like that.
Well, like what they used to do on cable when they would play like
Worse
R-rated
than
movies.
that. Like worse than the edits that would be made on cable movies, because that was always for content and for time, because they'd have to cut it down to. I wonder if that guy still has a job. Does the guy who edited for content and time still even have a job?
I guess
He's got to be the one who edits all the Fast and the Furious movies, so you can watch them on FX every weekend, right?
Are those R-rated?
No, but he's got to cut them down for time, because most of them after
okay.
4 or 5 are always over 2 hours, and I think those movies are usually cut down to fit into like a 2-hour block. But that means it's like an hour and 30 minutes with commercials.
I don't know. I've been watching movies on YouTube on that ad tier of YouTube Premium.
There's something very, very uncomfortable about watching movies on YouTube.
I
I feel
know.
like if you're watching something on YouTube, it should be a video essay or
I
a
watch
podcast.
those too.
Yeah,
but
like I'll stick to the streaming
I didn't
services
mind it.
for movies. It just
They
feels
have a lot
weird.
of like free movies on YouTube.
No, I
too,
know.
don't
Like
they?
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them on there. I've just
Yeah.
never clicked the actual button and watched one.
Can't do it.
seems like a scam.
It does. It's like, is my computer going to be like full of malware after I click this link? Like, no, thank you. I've got no interest in that. But like,
Someone said, "Give examples, Brett." What do you mean?
of what? Examples of what?
Yeah, I don't know.
I would need to know what you want an example of. But Paramount has a new round of layoffs. Over 800 people.
Well, how many employees do they have
That-
total?
But still, 800 people is a lot of people to lay off.
Well, we're also seeing layoffs at print media companies. It's
Well,
just the forms of media that people are consuming is changing.
It says, for the past several days, there's been chatter that Paramount layoffs of 800 are imminent. It follows a Wall Street Journal report in December that the company was mulling over the potential elimination of over 1,000 jobs in early 2024 to rein in the costs. How about stop greenlighting so many? I guess when you really think about it, like the salaries of 800 people is way more than the cost of even the biggest budget movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Like when you really when you add it up.
Disney's laid off like what, 10,000 so far?
Like yeah, and those people are working what, 60 to 100K jobs, like $60 to $100,000 a year jobs if they're working
like
in a studio.
You wouldn't need to do
Or
this
in an
if
office.
you weren't such rotten ideologues making horrible movies that don't make any of their money back.
Paramount is also considering. I mean, Paramount's not the worst offender of that though. Like
No, they're not. I mean,
Paramount is
Disney.
also still considering a merger with Warner Brothers Discovery. Again, who just went through 13%, they made 1.7 billion in ad revenue, but that's down 13% from what it was the year before.
Yeah.
So we'll have to wait and see. I know that the numbers are kind of boring, but it's the only thing that kind of tethers me to the actual idea that there's any amount of change that's actually going to come, because it seems like no matter how much we talk about it, nothing actually different ever seems to happen.
But-
I also noticed that NBC Universal had the lowest number of a drop in ad spending, but that's because NBC Universal was the only studio that was actually doing good work last year.
What do you mean by that?
Well,
What
they were
good
the
work?
studio that they won the box office last year. They beat Disney. It was the first time a studio other than Disney has been number one at the box office in all of since 2015.
Oh, wow.
NBC Universal, not to mention Universal Parks are still doing really, really well. So just something to think about. I like the numbers because they kind of give me something to hold on to. All right. What would you guys like to see? Cringe or cute of the day?
Sarah, you decide.
Cringe.
Okay, it's I don't know if it's super cringy, but anything with Madonna is cringy as far as I'm concerned. So it's just her bringing out Amy Schumer. Can you imagine thinking that that's something people actually want to see?
I mean, if you're at a Madonna concert, they might. What?
That's just not a selling point. Did you also see that she's getting sued for her concert starting too late?
Really?
Yeah,
Yes.
she's getting sued by a couple of like probably gay men that go to Madonna concerts because she didn't come on stage until 10:30 p.m. when it was
People
supposed
got
to start
jobs. People got to get up in the
Yeah,
morning.
I hate it
10
when
p.m.
artists do
just
that.
because her nap is at 8 p.m. and has to start the concert at 10.
I mean, I can't imagine that touring like this is easy on a woman in her 60s.
She's probably got like a diamond encrusted Life Alert bracelet.
It's hard for the old gays that need to wake up early in the morning, too.
Yeah.
So she needs to get on her act.
All right, cue of the day. Let's do a couple here. We got a bunch to look at. So Big Dave sent this one. Says Frankie is not a Steve McQueen fan. Frankie says Human. He's soft compares to you.
No.
Oh,
It's a cute dog.
Frenchies are cute.
We've had some more dogs being
Psychotic.
submitted lately. It was all cats for like a couple of weeks.
Is
Yeah,
a
people
Frenchie
got
like
mad.
Frenchies are like the same size as a cat. You
This is
know?
from Tiffany here. She says, I was told you needed cute cat pictures. Here's Floofy and Clementine.
thank you, Tiffany.
Whoa,
Aw.
that's a pretty cat.
Okay, never mind.
That one looks. That
No
one,
offense, kind of ugly.
Clementine looks like you just woke her up from a nap and is pissed.
Yeah, Clementine.
It's like a demon
Is
cat
that's
doll
a
that's been
better.
possessed.
Is that still Clementine? Looks like a
yes.
better picture.
Much better angle.
Okay. Aw.
Beautiful.
All right.
Wow.
All right, let's go ahead and get started then. Mary, tell us what's going on with all of this hullabaloo surrounding Barbie and the Oscars.
There is a gigantic feminist outrage erupting on social media right now because of the Oscars nominations. And I didn't expect this because I don't think anyone cares about award shows anymore. But here's the reason. Margot Robbie didn't get a nomination for Best Lead Actress, and Greta Gerwig did not get a nomination for Best Director.
Yep.
However, Barbie did get a nomination for Best Picture, but that wasn't enough.
And Best Supporting Actress
For
and-
America Ferrera.
Yes, she got
Yes.
Best Supporting Actress.
So nothing is enough if Barbie doesn't both get nominated and win every single one of these awards.
That's actually why the quote from Shoe on Head was my favorite. She says, "This shit was 9/11 for affluent liberal white women
It's
whose main
insane.
takeaway from the Barbie movie was women should win everything always."
Yeah, I think that it's sort of being treated like Black Panther for women. Like if you don't like Black Panther, you're racist. If you don't like Barbie, you're a misogynist. And I, as a woman, didn't feel like the Barbie movie spoke for me and represented me and my interests that much. When I watched America Ferrera's speech, I didn't like it. So I think that's where this is coming from, but this is, as Matt Walsh put it, one of the stupidest outrage cycles to have come about in recent memory. I guess rivaling only the Barbie movie itself. Like,
Yeah, Criticless on Twitter was pointing out. They said, could this have been an organized campaign to drum up like support for the movie? But
Yeah.
I heard somebody tell me that they said they know the person who is doing the promotion for Barbie for the Oscars push. She's like a
Okay.
publicist, and that's not what this is.
yeah, this is just indescribably stupid. And this is awful. Ryan Gosling has just released a statement. He has cucked to the mob, and he is voicing his disappointment with these Oscar snubs. He said, "I'm extremely honored to be nominated by my colleagues alongside such remarkable artists in a year of so many great films. And I never thought I'd be saying this, but I'm also incredibly honored and proud it's for portraying a plastic doll named Ken. But there is no Ken without Barbie, and there is no Barbie movie without Greta Gerwig and Margot Robbie, the two people most responsible for this history-making, globally celebrated film." No recognition would be possible for anyone on the film without their talent, grit, and genius. To say that I'm disappointed that they are not nominated in their respective categories would be an understatement. Against all odds, with nothing but a couple of soulless, scantily clad, and thankfully crotchless dolls, they made us laugh, they broke our hearts, they pushed the culture, and they made history. Their work should be recognized along with the other very deserving nominees. Having said that, I am so happy for America Ferrera and the other incredible artists who contributed their talents to making this such a groundbreaking film.
He's making it sound like there's never been a case where an actor has been nominated for Best Actor where the director hasn't been nominated for Best Director.
I mean, what people are not recognizing is that Margot Robbie got snubbed for a category where invariably another woman will win Best Lead Actress.
Yes.
That's why they're delineated across sex.
Is he saying it's because of sexism? Like,
I mean, that's what everyone in the media is saying.
Right.
Ryan Gosling is kind of cucking, and he did the same thing when they were at the Golden Globes.
He's acting like there's some big conspiracy, but he's not describing what it is.
It doesn't matter because Lily Gladstone is going to win for Killers of the Flower Moon.
Best Lead Actress?
Yes, oh yeah. She
That's
will.
crazy.
So these are the actresses who are nominated this year. Annette Bening for Niad, I didn't see that. I don't know what that is. Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon. Sandra Hüller for Anatomy of a Fall. Carey Mulligan for Maestro. People are pissed about that movie getting nominations too.
Well, what's really important is that Lily Gladstone gets Best Lead Actress because she'll be the first Native American actress to win the award, which means we can all pat ourselves on the back about our diversity.
And Emma Stone is nominated for Poor Things. Now here is who is nominated for Best Director. Justin Triet for Anatomy of the Fall, Martin Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon, Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer, Yorgos Lanthimos for Poor Things, and Jonathan Glazer for The Zone of Interest.
Okay, the conspiracy isn't that the patriarchy controls the Academy. The conspiracy here isn't a conspiracy at all. It's that the Academy is full of pretentious art nerds, and they will only nominate things that are highbrow enough to them in their standards.
They're basically saying that this is the Marvel's Endgame controversy all over again, where they thought that movie should have been nominated for a bunch of awards just because it made a bunch of money.
Art nerds don't like blockbuster films. Is this a surprise?
Here are the Best Picture nominees. American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, The Zone of Interest.
Okay. Is Poor Things the one where Emma Stone plays a child or something?
Yeah, she plays a baby who is in an adult woman's body and has sex with adult men.
Interesting.
So yeah, let's celebrate that. That's very artistic.
Interesting. For visual effects, The Creator, Godzilla -1, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning, and Napoleon. I would hope that Godzilla -1 wins that one, if not The Creator. But anyways, the point is then he gets nominated for an award, Ken does, and because he's a self-hating man in a feminist movie, he has to then turn around and say it's not good enough. But guess what? Your movie made a bunch of money, and plenty of directors are plenty happy making a bunch of money and influencing the culture. Your movie clearly did that. Like, why do you need all of the awards too? You got nominated for other awards.
Right. Well, he's
Gratitude is a superpower, my friend. Learning to be grateful for what you have accomplished and what you do have would go a long way in keeping the frown lines and the wrinkles from forming.
That's such
Look
good
at me.
advice. Yeah.
That's beautiful, Brett.
Yeah, here are some tweets in reaction to the news. Ken getting nominated and not Barbie is honestly so fitting for a film about a man discovering the power of the patriarchy in the real world.
Wah, 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 wah. Boys keep winning. Boys, 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 boys.
I mean, Ryan Gosling just can't accept the fact that he was the standout performance. He's like hating on himself and beating himself up for it.
I like the idea that it's actual, like he's actually doing this as like a troll. He's like, yeah, it does suck being so awesome, you know?
It just sucks like being such a good male feminist and still getting accolades for it. Nominating Ken but not Barbie is so on the nose, it hurts. Another said, but Ryan Gosling getting a nomination and Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig not getting nominations feels like something happening in the Barbie movie to further illustrate the point of the Barbie movie.
Also, they point out that there was no women nominated for Best Director, there was 3 women nominated for Best Director, so that's a good thing.
Oh, so okay.
But it wasn't Greta.
But it wasn't Greta.
It doesn't
not Greta, so then it's not feminist enough.
But three women nominated for Best Picture, but not Best Director.
If if I were Greta Gerwig and my film that made $1 billion was also nominated for Best Picture, I would be happy as a clam.
Yep.
Why is this not good enough?
Right.
I think it's, I don't know. I would love to hear a comment from Greta Gerwig or Margot Robbie about this, because they may not feel the same way as all these people
Well, you know who
on the
has
internet.
commented on this, Mary, is Hillary Clinton has something to say on this. Did you see this? Hillary Clinton reacts to Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig's Oscar snub. She says, well, it can sting to win the box office, but not take home the gold. Your millions of fans love you. You're both so much more than enough.
Oh,
Hashtag Hillary Barbie. Imagine a psychopath. Imagine a psychopath reaffirming your right to exist in Hollywood.
How is this real?
Dude, she's making this about herself. It can sting to win in the box office. She's talking about the election, but not take home the gold. The presidency.
Somebody, oh my God, somebody should make a fake tweet of
Everything's
Greta
about her.
Gerwig that says "Happy birthday to this Academy Award winner."
No. You should do it. You should do it. Or do I have to steal your tweet from you?
You can steal it. That's fine.
I just, this is like beyond parody. I don't
Yeah.
even know what to say anymore.
This young lady also has something to say. She was also mad because nobody was standing up for the Woman King when it came out.
If you are a white woman who was upset that the Barbie movie was snubbed, but you were silent when Viola Davis and Gina Prince Bythewood were snubbed for The Woman King and Angela Bassett was snubbed for Wakanda Forever, I don't care. Whatever you have to say, it doesn't matter. I don't want to hear a single word from you. Nobody cares.
She's wrong. People do care. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking about this.
I mean, the Barbie movie is the definition of like white feminism,
It
right?
is. Absolutely.
A feminism that's like perfectly safe and socially acceptable for the awful class, which is why Hillary loved it.
So Shoe on Head also had some examples of things that people had said. This was one lady says, and says, it's a Taylor Swift quote from the song The Man.
Oh, yeah. I'm so sick of running as fast as I can, wondering if I get there quicker if I was a man. Meanwhile,
She's a billionaire.
another woman is going to win Best Lead Actress. That's literally what the category is for.
Yep. And then this one, I'd like to thank the Academy for reminding us that no matter how much progress we think we make, the real world has always been and always remains a kendom. Again, boys keep winning. Boys. Sucks to suck.
Common Ken W.
Yep.
Obviously.
Absolutely.
I don't think Ryan Gosling actually gives a shit. Like, he
Oh,
just
yeah.
released this so he doesn't look like the bad guy, right? So people don't come for him.
I mean, all male feminists are putting on a performance, right? That's what I
I can't with this stuff because it really is what Shoe on Head said. It's the idea that, look, even with all of the accolades, all of the success, it's never enough. That's activism at its heart, right? No matter how much progress you make, it's never enough progress.
Never enough progress. There's never enough diversity in the world to satisfy these people, I swear. America Ferrera also chimed in, of course. She said, I was incredibly disappointed that they weren't nominated. Greta Gerwig has done just about everything that a director could do to deserve it, creating this world and taking something that didn't have inherent value to most people and making it a global phenomenon. It feels disappointing to not see her on that list.
Honestly, I think anyone could have directed the Barbie movie. It was a movie about Barbie. Like, I don't think she did anything profound there.
No.
Okay, so here's some other things that people said. It says, this person says, after an insane year of saving movies, Greta Gerwig, wrong. Okay, the Mario movie also made $1 billion last
did
year.
Oppenheimer.
I don't see, like almost $1 billion, right? I don't see Jack Black coming in here and complaining about how his movie was not nominated for enough Oscars. So no, I reject your proposition. They've been snubbed. It says, me at the Academy Awards for snubbing Greta Gerwig, Greta Lee. Oh, is her name Greta Lee Gerwig?
Greta Lee Gerwig.
And then it's a clip of Renee Rapp. They are all intertwined together. Greta Gerwig being snubbed at the Oscars despite Barbie being the only $1 billion movie. Look, this is exactly the same argument that the superhero nerds would make every time a Marvel movie made $1 billion and didn't get nominated for any awards. Your film does not necessarily matter when all of the critics are a bunch of pretentious art nerds that just want to watch movies in black and white and stuff that's lame.
I'm just waiting for the day when these people will care more about making a profit than winning awards at award shows that nobody tunes into.
Well, I mean, we talked about when was it that there was the cringe video of like Joe Russo responding to Martin Scorsese where he's talking about how big the box office was for all of his movies. Right?
Okay.
Those guys, I like. I mean, as cringe as that clip was, because the idea of two
What
like
did he say?
he's old, like he's like middle aged, and Scorsese's geriatric, and the idea that they're gonna like beef online is like the lamest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. But I like the idea of focusing on the money the movie's gonna make rather than the idea that it has some type of high art significance.
I mean, your cultural impact is only measured in how many people went to see the movie.
Yep.
It has nothing to do with the accolades you get for it a year later. I mean, they don't even know what they want. This statement from America Ferrera, it's as it should be. Women filmmakers telling all different kinds of stories that resonate in different ways in the culture is the goal. Like, what does that mean? All filmmakers are telling stories that resonate in different ways. Can a woman filmmaker only make a movie that resonates with women?
Yes.
Kind of putting yourself in a box there.
By Hollywood standards, yes, that does seem to be
Putting yourself in a box-shaped
box.
box.
Yeah. I can't with it. It's hilarious.
The fact that Hillary Clinton made a comment about this is just
Does anybody believe
the cherry on top of the
actually-
stupidity cake.
I wonder if she actually typed that.
You know, do you think Ryan Gosling even wrote his own statement, or was
No.
that a ghostwriter
No,
too?
I think a ghostwriter wrote that.
Yeah.
Do you think they showed it to Hillary and she was like, oh, that's a zinger. Post it.
I'm with her. I'm with Greta.
She's like, look, now she's going to wear her pink pussy hat to the next Barbie premiere, and we're going to have to deal with that.
I forgot about that, Brett. We could have left that.
You're
in the
welcome.
Forgotten memories.
Happy to help.
Thank you.
Happy to help. Yeah, it's just this is the movie that keeps on giving as far as content for us, as far as I'm concerned. It really is, and that's not it either, because there's more. Because not only has all of this happened, now legendary director Oliver Stone has been forced to apologize for daring to criticize Barbie.
This is elder abuse. This is straight up elder abuse. I feel so bad for this guy. Also, his comments were hilarious, and I mean, regardless of whether I agree with him, let the man speak. So he was in an interview with City AM recently, and he trashed not only Barbie, but John Wick.
Yep.
And also Fast and the Furious. It's not just about trashing a movie that women like. He's trashing a lot of different movies because he's an art nerd.
And these other ones are movies that men like.
So the interviewer jokingly asked him if he would direct Barbie 2. He said, ridiculous. Ryan Gosling is wasting his time if he's doing that shit for money. He should be doing more serious films. He shouldn't be part of this infantilization of Hollywood. Now it's all fantasy, 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 including all the war pictures. Fantasy, fantasy. Even the Fast and Furious movies, which I used to enjoy, have become like Marvel movies. I mean, how many crashes can you see? And then he also tells a story about how he watched John Wick on a flight recently and hated the experience. He said, I went through a nightmare the other day. I was flying Virgin to London. Richard Branson, the founder of Virgin Airlines, has a special place in hell reserved for him. Dante couldn't make this up. That plane he's designed is a sardine can. The seats are like straitjackets. I haven't slept an effing inch. It's a depressing nightmare. So on the plane, I watched John Wick, which is 3 hours in some, and I fell asleep about 778 times during it. I kept waking up and having to face him killing more people. It's like the world has degenerated into non-logic.
I love the hyperbole in all of this. It's my favorite part.
I love that he was just like, you know, stating his opinion
I also like
unapologetically.
that he was on, like, a Virgin Airlines flight, not like...
He wasn't flying private. He's a man of the people. He's just not a man of the people when it comes to his taste in movies.
This
which
is the
fine.
man who directed Natural Born Killers, and he also directed W and the JFK movie and all that stuff. So
he has a rap sheet that gives him the go ahead to have his opinions, right? But he was bullied into issuing an apology for these statements, which he posted from his Notes app onto Twitter.
Okay, do I actually buy that
This guy was-
Oliver Stone uses Notes app?
This guy was born in 1946, and he's posting a Notes app apology on Twitter. This is elder abuse. This is not okay.
Why? Like,
So here was his statement. He said, very disappointed to see Deadline, a publication I respect, run this sensationalistic, out-of-context statement I made about Barbie weeks before the film came out. At the time, I was busy promoting my nuclear documentary in Europe and had little to no knowledge of the project beyond its title. I was able to see Barbie in a theater back in July and appreciated the film for its originality and its themes. I found the filmmaker's approach certainly different than what I expected. I apologize for speaking ignorantly. Greta Gerwig's 2017 film Lady Bird was one of my favorites that year. Barbie's box office greatly boosted the morale of our business, which was welcome. I wish Greta and the entire Barbie team good fortune at the Oscars. The next day, it was proven that they did not have that good fortune.
I like the idea that he had to drag his old ass to a computer to go to IMDb because he doesn't have the app on his phone, and he has to look up Greta Gerwig's credits to figure out what she's made so he can talk about liking it.
I love
It's
how he
just-
says he likes another movie of hers, but he just can't bring himself to say he liked Barbie.
He said it was unexpected. He didn't say he liked it. It was kind of a middle of the road statement. This is just so blackpilling that what is he, 77-year-old man
You're
is
old,
being
dude.
forced
Just
to
tell people.
apologize on Twitter for anything. I mean, if you think I don't care about people's opinions now, when I'm in my 70s, I'm going to be on a whole other planet of not giving an F.
Mary already doesn't give an F.
know.
Imagine Mary at 77.
At that age, you should not have to care what people on the internet say about you.
Nope, you should not. He's also he's made so many movies. The dude's got FU money. He does not need to worry about
Right.
funding his next project.
But the feminist Stasi is this powerful that they can pressure him into apologizing for not liking just the idea of a Barbie movie.
And let's face it, he did not just criticize Barbie. He also
Yeah.
criticized John Wick.
So
He
I don't see
criticized
any
Fast and
statement
Furious.
about apologizing for not liking John Wick in this Notes app apology.
Chad
Yeah, what
Stahelski
the
and
heck?
What's that
Keanu
about?
Reeves is like, I'm going to need you to say you're sorry for not liking my movies. Nice guy Keanu Reeves is like, look, I've spent my entire career being nice to everyone. You can't be nice to me. Come on, dude.
Yeah, what about
almost
Vin
like-
Diesel? He might be offended.
It's almost like guys can take criticism, but women can't handle it or something.
yeah,
You know?
interesting phenomenon.
Keanu Reeves is over here just like, sorry, I was busy counting all my money.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Look, it should be the same situation for Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig. They have, they also have FU money and should not care. And granted, they aren't the ones that are crying and whining about it, at least publicly.
Yes.
But-
This is also the side effect of pretending like your movie has more significance than it actually does. Nobody's sitting around pretending that John Wick is high cinema. They're talking about it because it's a great action flick with tons of unbelievable sequences that are basically like a stuntman's wet dream. Everybody likes watching those movies because of the violence, not because there's some deeper message. Though I would argue that there actually is quite a powerful message. I mean, granted, it's about revenge, love and revenge in the first one, but I think that first movie actually has a very, maybe not strong, but poignant story.
Why does Oliver Stone have to apologize for these takes when Martin Scorsese is trashing Marvel films all the time and he gets away with it?
Well, because Scorsese's a Chad, I guess, who just doesn't apologize.
Yeah.
Well, also he's doing it about Marvel movies, so that's men. So it doesn't get the gendered feminist bend to the criticism.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is just sad. Let's read some super chats.
No. I want to know. I want to know why somebody like Oliver Stone has to apologize at his age, but somebody like Greta Gerwig, when these things come out, why doesn't Greta Gerwig have to then, why doesn't she issue the statement, right? Because this is more about people on the internet responding.
Yeah.
If anything, they're taking up arms in her favor. She's not
Like
really
on her
issuing-
behalf when she never asked for them to do that.
We're actually kind of it's kind of unfair on our part here because we're making it seem like this is Greta Gerwig. It's kind of coming off like Greta Gerwig is the problem. She's not. She's not really talking about this in any way, shape, or form. Margot Robbie had her kind of lame statements right before that ridiculous America Ferrera speech at the Critics' Choice Awards or whatever it was. But for the most part, it's not like this is on behalf of the filmmakers that this is a problem. This has more to do with just the fact that the feminist messaging behind the movie has bolstered an audience of people that really, really want to come out and fight about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Ryan Gosling is like making more of a splash by acting like he's so
Offended
about it,
Yeah.
you know, on women's behalf, as male feminists usually are.
Also now it's like if you're a guy and you sign on for a movie like that, the guys should then just lower their performance so as to not like make waves. Just like don't
Like
bring.
Can
don't
you try
get me
to like
wrong.
act worse? Like
Just be
Try to not
enough.
take up so
Tone
much
it down.
space.
Don't
Yeah.
go above and beyond. Just be enough.
yeah.
You don't need to give your because that's
They're
the thing.
stifling his creativity.
Whatever they want to say about it, Margot Robbie didn't give an Oscar-worthy. I don't even know if
Right.
Ken gave an Oscar-worthy based on what I believe their standards of what Oscar-worthy.
Best
means.
It's
song
almost like
for
they
I'm Just
planned it
Ken was
out.
enough. Like
Yes.
that was
Yeah.
fine.
It's almost like they planned it out to be controversial.
No, people had pitched that, right? That a movie that made most of its money about controversy, would that be so shocking if then it also drummed up its support for its Oscar run through controversy? But Nolan is not out here complaining. He's like, he's out here. He's like, look, I made a movie. It's nominated for a bunch of awards. He's like, what else is new? I'm Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to worry about it.
Right.
And I think that this actually ends up being the problem because when people see this stuff, the men look stoic, like they can take they can take some criticism and they roll with the punches, and the women look like they don't know how to, and it kind of turns people against your cause.
Right.
And again, that's not the director's fault right now. This is the fault of the fans.
Yeah.
It's kind
Forgive
of-
us if we spoke too soon and like 5 minutes from now, Greta Gerwig starts like live streaming herself crying on TikTok. Or
I mean,
something.
it is kind of
Because of Oliver Stone. Because of this 77-year-old man.
It is kind of like the diehard fan base of Zack Snyder films, who like love all his movies and talk so highly of all of his movies and go absolutely crazy online for his work. But it's
and they
not,
like have this bad reputation for being rabid online, but
it's-
Zack Snyder is actually an inoffensive guy.
for the most part,
For the
right?
most part.
So it's like your fan base ends up being what's causing all of it more than the person themselves. I mean, she
Right.
might have made more statements than that, but I don't think she's issued newer statements regarding this, unless you
She
saw
just
something.
pursed her lips at the Golden Globes, then that spoke enough for
All
her.
right. We got a $20 one here from Disco Jensen says, can we get another boys episode where we not talk about the plight of women? Musical numbers suck, even if it's about the patriarchy. I don't like musical numbers in movies either.
Wait,
So you didn't enjoy Mean Girls?
I did not. Oh, I didn't. Oddly enough, I liked Rachel Zegler's like musical numbers in the last Hunger Game movie, but it wasn't a musical. It was part of her character to sing.
sure.
It was woven into the story directly.
Yeah, I never watched The Boys, so I don't get the reference.
Well, I know I said unless he's talking about like Us, like he was like a boys episode of the show like on Friday. with Phil
Oh,
and
okay,
me
so we're
and-
not talking about the show The
I
Boys.
don't know if
Okay.
he's talking about the show The Boys. All right, let's go to Super Chats.
Andrew Jacobs said, Mary, if not for PCC, would you have seen Barbie?
I think she would have.
Yeah.
She was very excited to go.
Yeah.
She dressed up and wore pink and
And I was excited to be
Barbie
angry
shirt.
at it too. I was excited to
Was the
to
Barbie
hate it.
shirt for the movie, or did you already have the Barbie
I already
shirt?
had the Barbie shirt. Yeah, it was a hand-me-down from my grandma.
That's awesome.
really.
Yeah. There were so many $20 ones here. T-Dog said the reason Halle Bailey didn't get much backlash is because she's black. Backlash against a black person, you're racist. Other ethnicities mock away.
Also, she didn't say a whole.
But Rachel Zegler is also a minority, right? So, but yeah, Halle Bailey has a better reputation than Rachel Zegler.
Yes, she does.
And for
There was-
good reason, because she actually seems like an easygoing person.
There's one here from St. Miles above that said, I really
I didn't
enjoy
see
the
that.
opening tune. Well, you can thank Carter for that. You guys can also, if you want to go find Carter on Twitter, do you know what his Twitter handle is? I don't know what his Twitter handle
Oh,
is.
is it Carter Banks 4L?
I think that's his
Or
Instagram.
just
Either
Carter
way, you
Banks.
should go on there and tell him that you want him to finish our Crisis Party sound effect.
Our Nightcore crisis sound.
Because I will change that once we hit to 100,000 subscribers. So that needs to be done
Yeah.
by then. So
Quite Blackpilled said they can take our lives, but they will never take our upper lower lippy pillows. Let he without Zyn get the hell out of here.
Is that what they call them? Upper, lower lippy pillows?
I have never heard that term before.
They can't ban Zyns during an election year.
Yeah. They're
You're
really
going against the people.
Yeah.
Like, you know what
Play to your
election,
base.
you know what election year means? It means like student loan debt forgiveness. They try to slash the oil prices a little bit so the gas comes down. The only time the government ever actually works for you is like the 3 months right before the election.
Maybe we should have elections more often.
Yes. Let's hold off on the rest and let's come back after the fact. Mary, I think you should try to tell. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. You're gonna have to tell everyone what the hell is going on with Armie Hammer.
I will in one moment.
Second. Hold,
After
please.
the explosions die down.
Hold, please.
Okay, guys, it's public knowledge that Armie Hammer has a lot of degenerate kinks in the bedroom already, but one of his recent flings decided to come out of the woodwork and tell us some more details about their sex life. And in the process, she's really only embarrassed herself. Armie Hammer, it's no secret that he has a cannibal fetish, that he fantasizes about barbecuing women's ribs and, you know, eating their hearts by ripping them out of their chests and stuff like that.
We got a $20 one here from Tacty Platy. He says, my PCC lords and ladies, you ask and you shall receive. Meme tweet from Greta tagged you in just now, Brett.
No. Okay,
have to go
look
check.
that up and see
Okay.
what she said.
Keep going.
Yeah, so TMZ reported this. Armie Hammer's recent fling dishes on his bedroom kinks. She recently made an appearance on a podcast that, I'm not kidding, is called This Is the Worst Podcast. And it says, while things between the sheets were consensual between them, she's absolutely not negating the other accuser's experiences because she too was disturbed by his actions, despite the fact that she chose to sleep with him and wasn't put off by his weird kinks.
Here it is, ladies and gentlemen.
No. Okay, I thought that he meant that Greta Gerwig actually responded.
No, he made it for me. Thank you, my friend.
Yay!
Yes, go.
I love it. So she's saying that he never did anything predatory when they were together.
But she also goes out of her way to be like, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen to these
So
other
she's like,
women.
I'm perfectly willing to believe that this guy I had consensual sex with was a possible rapist.
But
I still chose to sleep with him.
Yes.
So let's take a look at this video of them on the pod.
From the TMZ.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Here we go, guys.
What's tricky about him was he was very open about everything. Anytime I had a question about anything, about the cannibalism, about all the stuff in the media, he was
like, so
very
let's talk about
willing
the
to talk
cannibalism.
about
So this
it.
was after
You
the
know,
cannibalism.
like I immediately was like, we are gonna obviously have to talk about the cannibalism. What's up with that? And the way he explained it to me is he said it's a cycle of completion. So he's like, I'm inside of you. I want you to be inside of me. And I'm like,
Nom,
Jesus.
nom, nom.
yeah, could I just
the
put a
worst
finger
thing
in your
ever.
butt?
Why do you have to eat somebody? My lord.
I'm like, do you need my McRibs? Because I feel like
Bro.
I feel like if it's a cycle of completion, we could do it.
He's
a
like,
different
no,
way.
I need to eat you and literally shit you out. Like, I need to get constipated on your flesh. Like, what is that?
Yeah, I mean,
And also nasty. Like, did he say like he actually eat people's like skin, or like what did he say?
no. He does this biting thing where it's like he will push it to the limit with biting. He will go as hard as you let him go with biting.
Did he make you bleed?
No.
Okay.
Because I wouldn't let him. It would get really fucking hard and I'd be like, stop, and he would stop. So in my experience, there was no, I was consensual with everything that was going on. And when
Yeah.
I told him to stop, he would stop. So I didn't have the same experiences
As other girls.
As the other girls.
Right.
Not negating any of their experiences or taking it away or saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying my experience was different.
But you were branded by him,
Oh, yeah.
which is something that he did to all the other girls, and then he's
Yeah.
all telling you he's recovered, and then he's like, hey, gotta give you a tattoo. Sorry, it's part of the thing.
Yeah.
You get my penis and a tattoo. Like,
So this is like my bad in not noticing a red flag. You know, I'm a Taurus. I'm a bull.
You love a red flag.
love a red flag.
You see a red flag.
keeps
and you're
getting
like,
worse.
okay.
So the first night we did hang out, he did give us tattoos.
Britney, the first night? Bitch, I thought this was after a couple weeks.
They're on my hand. They're cute.
Is that both? He gave you more than one? All those little ones?
Yeah. He was just doing stick and poke. Okay, so it did escalate over the time that he was staying with this guy he was sober companioning. He did order a tattoo gun and he started tattooing strangers. He was like calling it Cannibal Ink.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he thought he was like being funny, and I'm like, maybe don't lean into that. Maybe don't. But yeah, we got matching tattoos the first night, which
Okay.
Is that the
So much to unpack.
I was in a dark place.
She was in a dark place.
She was in a dark
there you
place,
go.
and she's a Taurus, so like she's a Capri Sun, and that just comes with the territory. And yeah, like that was my problematic fling or whatever.
Yeah, and they got matching tattoos on the first night they hung out
Wow.
together, but he's the weirdo. He's weird.
Like, how
Not
are you
her.
any less degenerate and weird and a red flag for
Because to women like
engaging
this,
in this?
Because to women like this, the world happens to them, not of their own volition.
Right. Oh, that's such a
Absolute
good point.
state of modern women. And what is, what is private anymore? What is meant to
was
be discretionary
The only
anymore?
reason I even thought it would be interesting to talk about this is I just imagined, like, there are things that you don't need to share.
Yeah.
Like, right? Like,
I mean, I just see women posting their L's constantly. They cannot help themselves from posting their
They're
L's.
addicted
And
to the
like,
clout.
you hooked up with a celebrity, so maybe you, in your deranged mind, think that this makes you look cool. But it's incredibly embarrassing, not even for him, because his stuff was already out there. Like, that was already
Right.
public. The text logs of his sexting with other girlfriends are already out there, published. You're actually just embarrassing yourself now.
She actually does him more of a service than herself, because she says
Yeah.
everything was consensual, and when I asked him to stop, he stopped, which means, he
She just-
behaved within the realms of, like, look,
Yeah.
different people will have different ideas of where sexuality between two people will go, right? Everyone's got their limit, and it is not uncommon for couples or people in a relationship to pursue those boundaries, find them, stop when you reach them. Fine. Perfectly normal. Fine, whatever. But that doesn't mean you need to go and talk about it. That's freaking weird.
Yeah.
on a podcast and have it published on TMZ.
And then he's over here like he should just start having NDAs.
Yeah, if he didn't already, this should be the time to do that. And I'm not saying one way or the other that I believe his Me Too accusations, but
Bro,
if I were like, thinking about who I'm gonna date, I don't think I would choose the guy who has Me Too allegations of being a violent rapist. Like, that would be probably a red flag. I wouldn't
Also
really
remember-
want to be in a room alone with that guy.
Also remember that ladies will blame their water sign before they will actually hold themselves accountable for anything on planet Earth, because she's a Libra, right? So
She's a Taurus.
Whatever
She's a
the
Taurus.
whatever the fuck it was, that's why it happened. She did this because she was born on a certain day in a certain month.
Yeah. Stop letting women get away with that.
Remember,
Stop letting women tiptoe their way out of
Women will say
responsibility.
shit like this and then wonder why we've placed limitations on their sovereignty through all of human.
I feel like you say that on every show I'm on.
Women say
But I
shit
agree,
like this
yeah.
and wonder why we place limitations on their sovereignty through all of human history. But it's not just women who are doing this. I also saw that Amy Robach and TJ Holmes of former Good Morning America fame are talking about their sex life publicly.
Why?
Yeah. So this was an infamous story where they both cheated on their spouses with each other and then got divorces. Now their ex-spouses are dating each other as a revenge plot. And Page Six reported that they are candidly detailing their sex life and intimacy preferences. It says, there's a lot in the bedroom and out of the bedroom that you aligned on. You both enjoy sex more than foreplay. You're both super into post-workout sex and shower sex. The host attested that the duo were not boring, and he shared that they prefer cuffs over ropes in the bedroom.
Now, if only
By
they
the
were-
way, these guys are in their 50s.
And also,
They are in their 50s.
They were into just about every type of sex except with this person they were actually in a relationship with. That is the problem here also.
Right, yeah, and they expect to put this all out there in the public eye and not get criticized for
This
it.
is most
because that would be shaming.
This
That would be
is
slut shaming.
mostly also like again, this is mostly these are women that want to know this stuff. Whenever these topics come up, I'm always kind of shocked because I just would never seek out this information. And I guess it's because women are more communal and like to talk about this type of stuff. It is the irony of the meme, like men only want one thing and it's disgusting, but it's just not something dudes like. I'm just not.
But what
having
is
these
TJ
conversations.
Holmes, the guy, thinking about all of this getting displayed publicly?
Yeah, like
Like,
I don't
you've
know.
got to be
It's
seriously out of your
getting, like,
mind.
But guys, that's not the grossest one.
It's not. Okay. So Jane Seymour has also recently done an interview where she said at age 72, she's having a more passionate sex life than ever with her boyfriend, who is 73. Quote, "Your sex life doesn't need to end at 60. And this is an essay for Cosmopolitan's Sex After 60 issue. She said, "Sex right now is more wonderful and passionate than anything I ever remember because it's built on trust, love, and experience. I now know myself and my body, and John has had his own experiences in his life. It's not like when you're younger. Your sex life doesn't need to end at 60. At the end of the day, everyone is looking for something that puts blood into a certain area." What the fuck are you saying?
Because that's what happens when you have sex when you're 73.
Ew.
From what I've heard.
Ew.
Ma'am,
No.
that's just a tear.
No one is telling you that your sex life needs to end at 60. We're just telling you to stop talking about it. We're just telling you to stop publicizing details of it because we are grossed out at just the thought. Ew. Ew. No. And they're talking about it in such clinical terms while at the same time saying that they have such enjoyable sex lives. Like, you're talking about it like, I don't know, like
you're teaching an anatomy and sexuality class.
like you're playing pickleball or something. Like,
There's a $20 one here from Disco Jensen says, "These people are trying to live out the soaps their mothers watched." Also, it is fair to point out that the number one consumers of anything that has to do with grape fetishes are women. Women are the ones that are into that stuff, not the dudes.
Yes, the statistics
Not the dudes,
do
okay?
bear that out.
It's weird, and it's again, like maybe I'm just on the outside looking in here, but whenever I see these types of articles, I just wonder who the people are that click on these. Like it's just weird.
I mean, if the phenomenon continues, it must be gaining a lot of traction.
I mean, it's not just this.
I just think some things should be private. Wasn't that always the conservative argument? Like, I don't care what goes on in your bedroom as long as it stays there and isn't, on the streets in pride parades or on magazine covers or whatever. But that was never an option. They always wanted to shove sexuality and the graphic details of it in everyone's faces.
I can't with the, okay, actually, never mind. I've changed my mind. As weird and as gross as that is, I'd still rather hear about that than about how being a Libra or a whatever made you have sex with a guy who claims to be a cannibal.
Watching that clip, definitely shortened my lifespan.
I'm just imagining she's like, well, imagine you're she's like, yes, and then the man offered me can in his van with no windows. And I was feeling my Libra energy that day. You know how much Libras love candy. So I got in the van with the total stranger and proceeded to get, whisked away to some hell house. Just come on, dude.
People will buy that though. People won't put as much responsibility on others as they deserve. Yeah, specifically women, but also Alec Baldwin kind of comes to mind too, in terms of people not taking accountability and responsibility for their actions, but. More commonly, obviously, it's women, especially women like that.
For the record, Sara has dabbled in crystal chick behavior before.
I have.
She has.
Are we gonna get into this right now?
She has.
We
covered.
can get all up in it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
When did you retire these practices?
In the last year, especially when I started going more towards Christianity. Yeah.
And did you see any benefits from, spirituality practices when you were doing that stuff?
So I think that people are drawn to it because there is a lack of religion, and because religion is demonized and kind of made fun of in a way, it's not considered cool.
It also gives answers to things that a lot of things in life are just inexplicable. there are just going to be things that there are going to be no answers for. And the idea that you're going to get easy answers from a star chart is probably very enticing to some people.
My idea about it was just that women want to have control over their relationships. So if they can, you know, theoretically use astrological charts and manifesting and The Secret and all of these other things to do that, then it's very enticing. It's hard to resist for them. They want to control social interactions and they want to like cast spells and stuff like that.
Yeah, it gets weird. Like it definitely gets a little bit weird. I think for some people also, it's like guidance. So if they weren't raised like, again, with like some kind, like religion is a lot more stable and all the questions have already been answered. So for me, astrology just kind of like got to that point where I was like, not all of these questions can be answered anymore for me. And it just wasn't as stable as, or like all encompassing as God. So that's why, you know,
Reeling it back.
A former crystal chick. Yeah. All right, let's get back to
I want to reiterate my point from yesterday about the sexual revolution. Everyone was free to do whatever they wanted with their sexuality before the sexual revolution. You were allowed to sleep around with every guy. You were allowed to get pregnant out of wedlock, and you could be a prostitute. And I guess the only difference now is that instead of being prostitutes, women are just giving it for free at this point, which is more embarrassing. The only difference back then was that those behaviors were socially shamed and people would frown upon your actions. What the sexual revolution was about, I guess, then, is just, you know, coercing other people into emotionally validating you for your bad decisions. It was not a sexual revolution, but like a validate my feelings about the bad decisions I'm making revolution.
Right.
Because I can't handle feeling shame.
There are 10,000 articles a day written for where a woman says, I decided to do this thing and I'm no longer afraid to say it. And I no longer feel guilty for feeling this way.
I'm empowered.
I'm empowered. And that seems to be the case du jour with most of the things these days, is to tell women that, you know, it's okay to do this, it's okay to feel this way. And on a case-by-case basis, maybe that's true for some things, but the idea that you're going to expect universal acceptance of your behavior is a bit childish and silly, if you ask me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even if you don't face the consequences of those actions, society has, ultimately.
All right, let's go to Super Chats.
Okay. Daniel G said, Pizza Hut classic review in a suit. We expect nothing less.
I don't own
Gonna do a review of the week.
You gotta rent one just for the Pizza Hut.
I don't own any suits. I can.
I'm expecting a monocle and a top hat.
That was one of the other. So the other Mandela effects that they're always talking about is everyone imagines that the Monopoly guy had a monocle, but apparently he didn't. I think that that's popularized from the scene in Ace Ventura 2 When Nature Calls, where he says, "Oh, you must be the Monopoly guy," to the guy on the stairs, and the guy's got the...
Do you remember, did you guys ever use top hat monocle in school, though?
I don't even know what the hell that is.
What?
It was like some kind of, I think like quizzing, like app that we used to do on our phones, and it was called Top Hat Monocle, and I always thought it was because of the Monopoly guy.
Bro, there were no phones when I was in school.
Did you use Kahoot?
I'm old.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorenko Productions said Shane H. Wilder isn't here, but on behalf of him, I will express his immense displeasure with the Zyn ban. Also, hi Shane, if you're watching the VOD, LOL.
Let's do one more.
Isaac Martinez said, I bet that these TikTok influencers haven't seen a good movie in years. Besides, Oppenheimer is going to win big. If not, no problem. Wait, what TikTok influencers?
I don't know what TikTok influencers he's talking
The guy
about there
from the
specifically, but yeah. Let's hold off on the rest and let's come back after the fact. Mary, tell us what the hell happened at MoMA.
Well, there is a performance artist named Marina Abramovic, and she has a display at the MoMA that is called The Artist is Present. And part of this exhibit is that patrons, in order to enter, have to squeeze between two naked performers, both male and female. And I guess you have to debate within yourself which way you're going to turn in order to squeeze between them. Are you going to be face to face with the guy? Would that be gay? Like, you know, it's very artistic. And one of those nude performers is actually suing the MoMA after, quote, staff turned a blind eye and allowed patrons to fondle his genitals on multiple occasions. He is seeking unspecified damages in a jury trial, saying he was hired as part of Marina Abramovic's The Artist is Present exhibit. And I don't know what you would have expected the patrons to be like. I mean, you have to be some kind of degenerate pervert to go to this exhibit in the first place. Because you're paying to touch naked people.
Yeah, you're paying to rub up against two naked strangers.
Yeah, so I mean, what type of person does that attract? Probably somebody who's gonna fondle, you know? And you know, it's interesting that you pointed out this is a male nude performer. If it were a female performer, I think there would be a lot more media attention on this story, because it's a guy, you know. People don't really pay as much attention.
Yeah. Am I wrong for like not feeling that bad?
I
Is
mean,
it because he's a man?
This seems like what Marina Abramovic intended to happen with this exhibit. She's trying to shock and offend you. She's trying to like reveal what people's most base desires truly are. And the reaction to her art in her mind is probably just as much part of the exhibit as what she presents.
Well, I don't know if that's necessarily most people's base reaction, but I feel like she does like to put a magnifying glass on people, certain like not ethical behaviors,
Are you
and act
familiar
like
with
that's
her?
how. Yeah, she's like super dark and satanic, right?
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of like imagery of babies and children and menstrual blood and bodily fluids and, you know, very disturbing stuff. Friend of the Podesta family, stuff like that. You know,
I don't know who
spirit
they are,
cooking
but yeah, I've
is
heard of
her
spirit
invention.
cooking. Yeah.
If you guys haven't heard of this woman before. So it says that this guy's name is John Bonafede. He argues that his genitals were fondled by 5 different men on 7 different occasions at the Artist is Present exhibit. He was working at the time as a re-performer, meant to recreate some of Abramovic's previous works for a special exhibit. His job was to stand completely still for 75 minutes and stare forward at a woman staring back at him in a similar pose in a work entitled Imponderabilia. I hate artists. I hate modern art. It takes itself so seriously. Like, they think they're so smart. Ugh. Just the name pisses me off.
What was the point of it? What was the intention behind the art? Does it say? Like,
I mean, with Marina Abramovic and all of these modern artists, I assume that their intent is just to confuse, shock, and offend. And I don't think that that's what art is for. That's why I hate modern art. I think art is supposed to help you contemplate truths.
right.
And the goal should not be to confuse you and cause controversy. Because I believe that's satanic. And she's openly satanic. Like, I don't think she would even...
Yeah, speaking of, like, casting spells.
I don't think she would even deny that.
stuff.
Yeah. So he argues that on 7 different occasions, he was fondled in eerily similar ways, all by older men. In each case, the man would turn sideways to face John Bonafede, drop their hand, and fondle and or grope his genitals, lingering for a moment before moving through into the next gallery room. One of the men allegedly assaulted him in direct view of a MoMA security guard, and another was recorded live by a camera crew which happened to be filming plaintiff's performance at the time. A third completed 3 different trips around the exhibit, non-consensually groping the plaintiff's genitals each time before he was finally stopped by MoMA security. The only purpose of such sexual touching was to degrade or abuse the plaintiff and to gratify the attendee perpetrator's sexual desire. The groping presented a serious risk of physical injury to the plaintiff, including risk of causing injury to the plaintiff's genitals and or risk of sexually transmitted infections. And he claims he didn't report the first assault to museum staff because he felt the museum and exhibit staff had adopted a tough it out attitude to deal with anything unexpected. As a result of the messaging he received during his MoMA-funded and supervised training with Marina Abramovic, he was acculturated into a communal belief system in which performers were expected to submit silently and unwaveringly to whatever conduct attendee performers might choose to engage in, including repeated acts of sexual assault. So it's interesting that they call the attendees, the patrons, performers. By attending this exhibit, you are participating in the art exhibit. You become a part of it. So then whatever you do in there is sanctioned. You can do anything you want because it's all about showcasing the base desires of humanity, like our degenerate, I don't know. It's like art or something.
I'm picturing like a journalist who's like, it's kind of like the meme where, it's like, which button do I push? And he's like this, like men assault person, man assaulted, and they don't know which one to push, so they just can't push either because neither of them, on one hand looks great because they want to criticize men, but on the other hand, it's a guy getting assaulted, so.
Yeah, I guess none of the other nude performers, especially any females, voiced the same concerns. I guess it's expected that the people who would be groping are men, probably gay men. Like, I'm not shocked by that detail. But I don't know, like, it's supposed to be gross. It's supposed to showcase degeneracy. And the intent, I believe, is to see what people will do and see how low they'll go. That's part of the exhibit. So really, like, he's almost saying, like, your artistic expression is not a shield for your ethics. You can't hide behind the excuse that it's art to say that everything is acceptable. And that's what I was saying about Balenciaga yesterday.
So they got a good old 3 strikes you're out policy over there at MoMA. It took 3 times.
No, 7 strikes you're out. 7 strikes.
But they said 3 times, like it happened 3 times before they did something to one of that one person.
And then the next 4 times they were like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, you took the job, which, fair point. You were hired to stand there naked and let people touch you. What did you expect to happen?
Right.
Like, I don't exactly feel bad for you, dude.
Yeah, that you're okay with it and don't really have boundaries.
It's supposed to be like challenging the idea of bodily autonomy or some bullshit like that. Yeah, I looked into the description of the Artist is Present exhibit on the MoMA website, and it says all performances, one of which involves viewer participation, will take place throughout the entire duration of the exhibition. So that means that they're expecting all of the patrons to be participants in the exhibit. They're expecting them to do things like this. Like, that's part of the shtick, I guess.
Yeah. Very easy to get away with it then, too, if you imagine that everything can be categorized as just a reaction, which is just part of the artistic expression.
It's a creeper's paradise.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, if you want to grope people, like naked strangers, come here.
So you believe...
This is the place for you. This is the place for perverts.
So you said that you believe that art is supposed to be Can you rephrase that to me again, what you said about what you believe?
I believe that art ought to be intended to have the viewer contemplate truth.
Okay. What? Like,
not to confuse them, not to make them angry, and all of these other reactions, not to arouse them, because that's pornography.
Interesting.
And I believe that's what distinguishes this from actual art. I don't think this is art.
What about somebody who's like, if somebody's just not, like, what if there's an artist who just doesn't seem to contemplate or really seem to think much about that concept, about like the concept of truth? They're not necessarily out to confuse you, but the concept of revealing truth just doesn't matter to them.
Do you have an example?
No, but like that is like the cop-out line that they always give, right? It's like, oh, it was I was pursuing my truth through my art.
Yeah, that's bullshit. Yeah. Like, that's just playing dumb, And that in and of itself is trying to confuse people and start controversy. It's just, clout chasing, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I see most of it is so subjective. It doesn't even. It's not
You
even.
tape a
worth debating.
banana to the wall, and that's art.
Well,
You put a toilet in the
that's-
MoMA. I'm not kidding. That was
money
that was
laundering.
another MoMA exhibit. Just a toilet.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Like, that's not art. Stop. Like, I'm not a fool. You can't fool me. That's not art.
Most of this shit is money laundering these days. Anyways.
Probably. It probably is some kind of front for human trafficking or whatever. And I also looked up this like listicle, the 25 worst examples of modern art. One of them is just a cube of garbage that they found from the ground in New York City. It's just a cube of garbage, like a Starbucks cup.
That's everywhere in
grocery
New York City.
bag, like stuff like that. They also mentioned Mattress Girl, who was carrying around the mattress on which she was allegedly raped throughout her college campus as performance art.
Didn't it come out that that wasn't true?
Yeah, it did.
Dang.
Yeah, there was a portrait of the Virgin Mary composed of elephant dung and pages of pornographic magazines. So that's a bold statement for us to consider. Probably has a lot of meaning, right? Stenciled letters that spell fool, because you're a fool if you pay for it, and you're a fool if you pay to see it. Yeah, there's just so many examples. It's too many to count. It's a joke.
Like, even if it's not thought-provoking, art could at least be beautiful. I want to look at it and be like, wow,
Yeah.
that took a lot of talent.
Yeah, exactly. And some of these are just literally scribbles. Like, when people say my 5-year-old could make that, that's actually clever. Like, that's actually correct.
Yeah.
And then when they say that, they're like, you just don't understand art, man. Like, you're not an elite prick like me. Like no, when they say that, they're right. They're right. And it's just, promoting more subjectivism, the idea that there's no objective truth, and therefore how could you create art that draws you to contemplate it, right?
One of them is a literal squiggle.
Yeah. There's Yoko Ono's exhibit of 3 piles of ground up dirt, and it's subjective versus objective. Like, they're all slightly different shades of brown, so you're supposed to I don't even know what that means, but yeah.
Oh my gosh. This guy, okay, artist Terrence Coe had an installation in 2007 that was literally gold-plated pieces of his own poop.
Yep.
He leaned into it.
Someone's like, is that fried chicken?
There's one of Hunter Biden's pieces. Remember, his artist sold for $1.5 million.
Oh, well, that was for sure money laundering. We
Yeah,
know that.
let's go into Ukraine for sure. Zelensky, we're calling you out. But yeah, modern art sucks.
I mean, like, I would take like a little bit of a different stance. I wouldn't say that it was necessarily not art. I would say it's bad art. And
Well, what makes something art?
It's well, I mean, that's the philosophical question, right?
The philosophical question is stupid because we already know what makes something art.
I bet you could ask. I think you could ask.
That's a stupid philosophical question. There are stupid questions.
But that's the thing that
Doesn't
people
mean anything.
do nowadays. It's like we all understand intrinsically what art is.
Yeah.
But this whole but really do we know and do we get it?
Just because you can ask a question and get 100 different answers doesn't mean that one of them isn't correct.
Yeah.
You can ask how many genders there are and you would get millions of different answers, but only the person who says 2 is correct. So that doesn't say anything about objective truth.
I still think most of it's money laundering, anyways.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Or like satanic occult rituals. Okay, let's get into super chats. OrganizedBusinessServices.com said, finally 82 in North Palm Beach this week. It was cold at 70. 70 is cold. All last week. I'm going skinny dipping in the pool this week. LOL. I may go fishing also.
Nice.
You can do both simultaneously. High Voltage 75 said, Sara, is there a discount promo code for Cast Brew going on now? When's Appalachian Nights back in stock? Also, do you believe dinosaurs are real?
Wow,
a lot
those
of
are some loaded questions.
Is there a promo code?
Yeah, the promo code ended like a few weeks ago. Sorry.
Okay.
Appalachian Nights, anything that ever goes out of stock will be back in stock within a week or 2. So it'll never be out of stock for very long. I don't have the exact dates. And what was the last question?
Do you believe dinosaurs are real?
That I cannot answer.
You don't know? You don't know. Okay,
Wait, so
fair.
we know that art. We know exactly what art is, but we don't know if dinosaurs are real.
Oh, so you just believe the science? Is that what I'm hearing?
Right.
I'm just asking the question. So
I was taught
We don't know if the moon landing was real.
The fossils
in school.
That's
I
like
no
the world's
longer know.
biggest. It's the world's biggest con job. All the fossils that are on all the different.
It might
museums.
be.
Okay.
Have they ever
Okay.
found a full dinosaur? I'm serious.
Even
Well,
the
semi-serious.
you know,
Not really.
artistic renditions of dinosaurs, we don't know if they're accurate.
Right.
Yes, that is true. That like
Yeah.
despite what the having a complete skeleton, that they say there's actually a large and like what they like a lot of people would talk about like what Jurassic Park made dinosaurs sound like would actually be nothing like that. So
Yeah.
I choose to believe that
a
just
lot of
because of
guesswork.
Jurassic Park, that Jurassic Park could have been a real story. That's what I choose to.
What
believe.
if dinosaurs made like anime girl sounds in real life?
Oh my god.
And you're like, yeah. Justin G said the Oscar isn't about acting; it's about earning the respect and admiration of the creative community. Calculon from
Of a bunch of
Futurama nailed it.
nerds.
Yeah. The Undertaker said, "Take a drink each time they say women."
women?
I hope you're not in the hospital right now. T-Dog said, "Does anyone remember that Catherine Bigelow directed Point Break with Keanu Reeves? Elizabeth Banks' comments last year are BS."
There's other such directors. There's plenty of talented female directors. They have short memories and a desire to be the first to do something, even though they're not.
Elizabeth Schuster said, "Mary, you are glowing today. Love the pink."
There's actually a light on her.
You can
which is why
probably
she's-
owe it to the ring light, which is in front of me right now, but off camera. Sarah, gorgeous lady, love the denim jacket. Brett, handsome as always. Have a wonderful Wednesday.
Thank you. Have a
Well, we
wonderful
love
day.
that. Thank you for the compliments. Organized Business Services said, "Yes, Mary, I'm turning on the boat engines right now." Wait, what?
To go fishing?
To go fishing? I just
dip
can't
fishing?
believe that you think 70 is cold. JTR
70's too hot
11.
as far as I'm concerned. Let's get a third crisis party, guys.
JTR said, "God is regretting that rainbow promise right now." Well, look, he said he wouldn't flood the earth. He didn't say he wouldn't use other means of destruction. Corey Anderson said, "This is horrible. Those ladies are trash. That was worse than the People's Joker. She also mentioned astrology. That is a red flag."
Yep.
Yep. If your sons ever ask you what time they were born,
Run.
you need to put their phone into the garbage disposal. Disco Jensen said, "These people are trying to live out the soaps their mothers watched." Oh yeah, you read that one. Not That John Stewart said, "When we were in school, a phone was in the principal's office and was used to call parents when you were bad." Yeah. Well, I mean, I wasn't allowed to have my phone out in school. You had to turn it off and keep it in your locker.
Right.
Did you?
Yeah.
That's
We
like
weren't
not
even
the
allowed to
norm
have it,
anymore?
Yeah, like in the halls or anything.
There was like people were just starting to text when I was in high school.
Uh-huh.
It was great for cheating.
It was
on
I didn't get
tests.
to do that because I didn't have a phone until I was 18.
How did the teachers handle it though?
They had no idea what was going on. You could have been doing black magic for all they would have known.
Pat the plumber said, "I'd face the dude and make lots of eye contact."
Well, yeah.
Well, it's like, are
the
you
better
gay if
question
you
is
turn your
no,
butt
yeah,
to-
or are you a misogynist if you face the woman, or are you gay if you face the dude? Lame.
That
Yeah.
should have been the art.
Yeah.
That's for all we know. That's what she meant by that. She's
Gay
like,
panic.
She's like I'm imagining her with a clipboard just as you pass the threshold of walking past him. She's like,
Right.
so did you face him because you're gay, or did you not face her because you're not a
She's just
misogynist?
silent in the corner, like writing her results. Pat the plumber, Victor Johansson said, "Modern art is a con job. Bring back isms." What does the isms mean?
Like cubism. And,
Like racism?
Oh.
Is that what you mean? Sexism?
There's a $20 one here from Gordon Shumway. Says, "Did anyone hear of the Italian artist that sold his invisible sculpture for $18K?" And I think we actually mentioned this in like a pre-show
Invisible
segment.
sculpture.
Yeah. And yes, they have found complete dinosaurs that are
What?
actually more related to birds, not lizards. They're actually more related to birds and not lizards, so they look different from the films. There was
Yeah.
some scam a couple years ago where a guy went to jail. It was at like a Dutch art exhibit where he like mailed them an empty box and said this was the art, and they're like, no, you're going to, because they fronted him the money for the sculpture or whatever it was, and he's like, no, this is the art.
I wouldn't be surprised if today that actually got him.
I mean, this
a
was like
paycheck.
this was like
dang,
last year.
I bet did they actually pay him?
They gave him the money beforehand.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Joe Watland said, "Do you think these bitches are dumb? I understand if you don't want to say that out loud."
Wait, what?
Which bitches?
On the podcast?
Which bitch?
On the podcast? Yes. Yes, I do. Rockstar Podcast said, art is the right making of the thing to be made.
Even the answers are existential.
Yeah. It's not really our bag. Existential isn't really our bag here. Urashima
I have no
Otaru.
problem. Like, existential doesn't bother me because I just don't think about it. I like you can ask all of the open-ended questions you want, and whatever you believe, I'm going to be more than happy to be like, okay.
It has to be interesting, though.
Cool.
It can't just be a complicated existential question about something I do not care
What
about.
color is this pile of dirt?
Like,
Is it brown or
or have you just been socially conditioned?
or have you just been
to call
socially
it?
conditioned
the
to
same
call
brown
it
that you
brown?
Look, I don't care. Yeah, it's self-important. Fine, sure. Like, but I'm more than happy to let people go and self-indulge in their own sandbox.
If it's existential stuff that could actually change my perspective on life and have a profound effect on my life, then I'll entertain it. Other stuff, thank you guys.
Is pop culture crisis good? I have no idea. What do you think?
That should be the poll today.
I could give you, like, you could ask everyone that question, and you get a different answer every time. You could answer me that question, and you get a different answer most days.
Yeah, yeah. Urashima Otaru said, birds are where the dinosaurs went.
One of my favorite things is,
alligators.
like, I worked for, like, a very short period of time at this call center.
Okay.
There was a guy who worked in the cubicle side. He didn't work at, like, he didn't make cold calls. And he just was the most normal-looking guy you've ever seen. Buttoned up suit, went and got his coffee, said hello in the most generic way to everyone, and then you look in his cubicle and it's just a bunch of things that say birds aren't real.
Why didn't you ever ask him about that?
I have no idea.
He's probably a really interesting guy.
He probably
He subscribes to Timcast now.
He probably does, but I just always remember that he was so normal looking. And just endless things saying birds aren't real. But it was like, it's not like he had like a plethora of different conspiracies papering the walls. He just really doesn't like birds.
Are you sure it wasn't Shane Cashman?
Could have been Shane Cashman.
Shane in
This is back in
disguise.
Minnesota, so I don't think it was Shane Cashman. You never know.
Corey Anderson said, Mary, are the braces new? I do not have braces. I do not have braces.
Mary does not need braces.
I already had
Lovely
braces back in high school. Pat the Plumber said, Brett and Mary, what games will you be playing with the gay mermaids when you go on? When? Not an if?
Wrong.
Sounds like peer pressure to me.
Wrong.
Brett, you answer first.
I will be playing no games. Though
Brett doesn't play games. He's a serious person.
I do. No, I play old video games. In fact, I did just, I put in my eBay cart, but I haven't purchased yet, another N64 because I just don't feel like making my dad shit me mine. Like, I have my N64 and my old NES and my old Sega, and I think I'm just going to buy a Sega and a 64 and then, you know, repopulate just the games that I liked the most.
Can you stream those on Gamermaids?
Yeah. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. But I will, however, play lots of GoldenEye, Tony Hawk 2, and
They did
Turok
play
2.
GoldenEye.
But that was I think that was on an emulator.
Is there like a rollerblading equivalent to Tony Hawk?
There was a game on PlayStation 2 called Aggressive Inline that I actually bought just for that. I bought the PlayStation 2 just for that and Hitman. But I still own my PlayStation 2, or I bought a new PlayStation 2 years later just to be able to play that game. Yes.
Nice.
And I never played as Frankie Morales. I always played as a different character, whereas everybody else played as the same. Because there was only one cool character in the whole game, and the rest of them were all lame, and I always played as the other character just to be different.
That's very you.
I'm not like most girls.
I'm a Taurus.
Exactly.
Sorenko Productions said, for the modern art, didn't someone end up using the toilet and didn't someone eat the banana too?
Oh, I hope so.
Someone did eat the banana.
They ate the banana.
I didn't
and
hear
then
about the
had to use
toilet.
the
Again,
toilet.
money laundering.
But the toilet, like, maybe the security guards at the museum were told, like, if someone tries to use the toilet, don't stop them. Like, that's part of the whole exhibit.
Maybe that's where the tinfoil covered poop came from.
And whoever
It's all
uses the
connected.
toilet first gets a cash prize. Did we get a $20 one that I missed, or
No, I
Okay.
read the Gordon Shumway one.
Okay. High Voltage 75 said, Mary at a dino exhibit in a museum. I'm telling you right now, that offer is not real. It's not. Most of the bones that they use in those exhibits aren't real anyway.
Yep.
The Undertaker said, if you want to scratch a paleontology itch, read The Dinosaur Heresies by Dr. Robert Backer. He was one of the first to propose warm-blooded and feathered dinosaurs back in the mid-'80s.
I'll just go watch Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's historically accurate, obviously. Corey Anderson said, are you telling me there's nothing on your teeth? Yeah?
What?
There's nothing there.
There? Nothing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Gaslighting. It's a psyop.
All right. Oh, we got one more there.
It's not showing up for me.
Oh, Pat the Plumber says, whatever, Mary. Don't answer, jerk.
Don't answer what?
What was his last one?
I don't even know.
He said, Brett and Mary. Oh, it says, what games would you play on Gamermaids?
Oh, I wouldn't.
There you go. There's your answer. I did just see that apparently Super Smash Brothers was like, it had its 25th anniversary like just recently.
Oh, cool.
Came out like 25 years ago. So time flies, ladies and gentlemen. All right, before we go, would you hit the like button on this video, subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. Perhaps you will leave a comment down below about whether you think dinosaurs are real or not. Perhaps you want to talk about that. Sarah, thank you so much.
Thank you guys. You can go and buy the coffee on castbrew.com. We have a bunch of new blends coming out. Always fun stuff. Follow us on Twitter too for announcements at castbrewcoffee. You can follow us on Instagram as well, castbrew_coffee. You can follow me on Twitter at LadySellsCoffee. And I'll see you guys next week.
All right. Mary.
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived.
Perfect. And if you guys would like to follow me, Instagram and Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. Pop Culture Crisis is here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is noon Pacific. Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify if you would prefer to listen rather than watch. And if you want to follow the show on social media, we are on Twix at PopCulture_show, Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Guys, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Bye.